On this episode of DC On Screen, we say goodbye to Paul Reubens, talk about Angel Soto's thoughts on Blue Beetle's place in Gunn's DCU, break down everything we know about Gal Gadot and her claims that she's developing Wonder Woman 3 with Gunn and Safran, and so much more, including Oliva's Batfleck and Flashpoint What Could Have Beens. Oh, and we have a new digital movie giveaway. Right after these words, from sponsors we in no way approved of.
Salutations, my fellow food lovers. This is Chef Mark here from Johnny's Italian Steakhouse, and I want to tell you about our filet Oscar. This premium filet is topped with Johnny's lump crab cake, grilled asparagus, and our signature béarnaise sauce. But the start to any great night always begins with a killer appetizer, and I recommend trying out our jumbo pan-seared sea scallops with Brussels sprout slaw tossed in Johnny's hot bacon dressing. It is so good. I know that you will love my filet Oscar as much as I love preparing it, so come to Johnny's tonight. Johnny's Italian Steakhouse, Village Point Shopping Center, Omaha.
Well. Shopping for a car?
Yep, Carvana made financing a car as smooth as can be.
Oh, yeah?
I got pre-qualified instantly and had real terms personalized just for me.
Doesn't get much smoother than that.
Well, I got to browse thousands of car options on Carvana, all within my budget.
Doesn't get much smoother than that.
It does. I actually wanted a car that seemed out of my range, but I was able to add a cosigner and found my dream car.
It doesn't get much...
Oh, it gets smoother. It's getting delivered tomorrow.
Visit Carvana.com or download the app to get pre-qualified today.
Welcome into DC On Screen, bringing you news and reviews for the DC Multiverse on film and television since 2015. I'm your host, David C. Robertson, and this, a man who needs no introduction.
Then don't.
I wasn't gonna. What's going on, man? No, Jason Goss.
Well, now I just feel sad. Okay, all right, yeah.
Yeah, everyone knows who you are now.
Felt underrepresented.
Yeah, don't do that, man. So what's up, man? Are you gonna go see any movies this coming weekend?
I might, I guess.
Yeah, I'm afraid I'm gonna have to wait until Sunday to see Blue Beetle.
Yeah,
but
we got to get together on times on that one.
Yeah,
at least for the after, party, we'll call it.
The after party,
the recording, so to speak. I'm gonna be short on time as well. Not desire, to be sure. I mean, I know we're not as excited, and it's just not as big a thing as it used to be. But I very much do want to see the movie.
Yeah, I would like to see it before it gets too outrageously spoilery on the interwebs. Not that I've been on Twitter or anything too much these days. A lot of vitriol going on out there, and I'm just kind of like, I'm over it.
Granted, I hadn't thought about it, but this is one of the movies that I've been least, spoiler afraid.
Because you don't think anything's going to happen.
I don't think anything that's so deeply connected that I just can't unsee it.
Right.
Will be here. I mean, I'd be happy to be proven wrong, but this was not a cul-de-sac, but it did turn out to be a very long road to a dead end, it would seem.
So far, we don't know that, though. That's what everyone keeps saying, but we don't know that.
I'm not even in that area where I'm just like holding out hope or something. I genuinely do not care as far as keeping the previous version going at this point in my life. I just kind of want the direction of where I should, where should I be investing my excitement? Mm-hmm. Is that a good way to phrase that?
I guess that's a pretty good way of saying it. I am excited.
I don't want to act like a shelter dog anymore, effectively.
Yeah, I'm excited for what's coming. If Gunn winds up doing a really good job and they like what he's doing, and he might do a really good job and his shit might flop. It doesn't matter. It's all so much depends on marketing. So much depends on the vitriol of fans, the apathy of the general audience. There are so many factors, but
But that is where we're going. I mean, don't let any kind of hashtag steer you the wrong way as far as, if we fight it, they won't do it. They're doing this, man. They've already spent the money.
They're going to do it.
This is happening.
Yeah.
You can meet your expectations as much as you want.
And by this, I'm sure you mean Creature Commandos will come out.
Yes.
Nothing else has been made.
No, nothing else has or can be made for a second there because of strikes.
And I'm pretty sure we will get Legacy.
Oh, we'll get minimally that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 4 years where they're basically just going to have to buy him out at a ridiculous rate if they don't use whatever he did. But I know he had a 10-year plan, but he's got 4 years just on top, period. And the only people he has to, be accountable to are Zaslav or whomever he sells the company to. And that's fine. Like, that's how those contracts work. He may be out of work if they actually sell. Who knows? But as it stands, this is what's coming. I'm actually pretty excited about it, so I'm not trying to just mitigate the feelings for anybody.
Mm-hmm.
But saying you're not going to watch this is just kind of like the fuck James Gunn hashtag.
Yeah.
Just anyone who's got that in their feed, please do yourself a favor and mute it forever. Like, anyone who's not willing to just watch something, try it, and just see where it's going, I'm not sure that is the best source of information as far as like where you should be putting your feelings.
Yep.
Like, try it. Like I told you earlier, I don't care if an 8-year-old made this movie. I'm going to at least give it a shot to see what an 8-year-old might do with a fucking Superman movie.
Right? Me too, actually.
That would be pretty exciting.
I think
it's going to be terrible, but I'll probably love it.
I think some people are convinced that that's what we'll be getting with Superman Legacy.
No. The actors alone that have been hired, I think, would probably stop that. Like, not even just deliberately, would stop that by, like, sheer force of personality.
Yeah.
Just not allowing themselves to be infantilized by that kind of writing, if that's what's actually happening. But I don't know.
Yeah,
I've said it before with a lot of things. Dear God, let him make something and then judge it.
I didn't stick it in the notes, but yeah, earlier I saw a news article about, well, what I saw was someone tweeting and saying, it's confirmed, no one decent will work with in James Gunn's DCU. And the article that they were talking about was Charles Roven just saying, yeah, we're friends. Me and my wife have dinner with James and Jen, but we haven't really talked about any business. And that was it.
So, I mean, fuck him, right?
Like, the stretch these people are going to be like, no one decent wants to work with James Gunn. Like, he just said they're buddies. They have dinner. They just haven't talked about anything.
And I have zero connections here. If I just sent a generic letter to someone's presidential campaign and came back and said, like, Trump, DeSantis, Biden, whatever, won't talk to me. They've never responded to a single message. They don't want to talk to me. No, they just never responded because I don't fucking matter.
Yeah.
Like, there's a difference.
And I think it's hilarious that people who are in the business, people who have both made Suicide Squad movies.
Yeah.
They are like having dinner. They're just buddies. They're having dinner and shit. And they're not talking business. Like, they are way less interested in this than so many of us. They're just like, whatever. Let's work. Let's hang out. Let's go. I'm going to play that race car game over in the corner. Like...
There'll be some like idle considerations probably of like, I mean, I would love to have directed, Will Smith or other side like Pete Davidson or something. Like, was that fun? I mean, was that like, I think like there's probably some shop talk, but it's not like every time you get together with another creative, you're not necessarily planning a fucking movie.
Yeah.
There is just chill time.
I mean, it might shock the listeners to know that when you and I hang out, we don't talk about DC on screen all that much.
I appreciate the light. We spend most of our days planning, basically, everything we're going to say. It's a very scripted podcast. And basically, like, if anything, if I'm going to be honest, it's me. It's me. I'm the problem. It's me.
Yeah, we're scripted, and it shows.
Yeah. Like, if I could just stick to the script, I think this would be a much tighter thing.
Mm-hmm.
But no, you've been on me for years about, can you just like go to acting classes or some shit? And
right.
I tried to take improv one time and you basically like, you slapped me that time because that's not what we're doing, Jason, as you put it.
Yeah. And then you said, yes, and I was like, no, but
And I was like, QED, got you, bitch.
No,
The laugh was too long. God damn it, man. Stick in.
I think a few weeks ago, you and I had a hour-long conversation about Bluey. You were just telling me to watch Bluey.
Yeah.
We don't talk about this shit that much.
Yeah.
We used to, which is why I was like, we need to do a podcast.
Which has been
And now we try to save it for the
universe
podcast.
Has mixed reviews about in general.
Uh-huh.
I think you may have to answer to God for this one day, frankly.
Put it on the list.
It's going to be both of us standing there in the same car wreck. And it was like, so, I heard you say one time it was your idea. Yep, it was him. It was him.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't do it. You agreed.
Yeah. God's like, oh, let me look. Okay. So there are
You got me there.
children
I was under
starving.
coercion. He's taller than me.
There are children starving, and you're buying action figures. How do you figure that? Like action figures, there, Lord.
And you starved them.
Oh God.
I did not provide food to most of the planet. You did.
Oh man, we're getting into some dicey territory now.
What's the short version? What's the Twitter version of "Not My Problem, Bitch"?
Yeah, I don't know. Twitter's not even real anymore. It's called X.
I like this trend about calling it the app formerly known as Twitter.
Yeah,
Huge fan.
I think
Huge fan.
I as far as I know, I started that, and that's what I'm sticking to. I'm sure no one in the history of humankind said it before I did on the last episode of DC on Screen.
I'm certain that's the origin, but even if it's not, let's face it, that might be possible. Sometimes when something's so good,
Absolutely,
it just makes its way around.
Before we get into news, I want to bring up we had a very nice piece of feedback
Oh, cool.
on I want to say iTunes, but I know it's Apple Podcast. I'm an old head.
The app formerly known as iTunes.
No, I think iTunes still exists.
Does it? Is it just? I thought it was Apple Music now or some shit. Fuck it. I
don't know.
Okay.
I think it's still around somewhere. Anyway,
I'll ask my computer when I get back to work.
It's Mrs. Henry gave us 5 stars. It says, I'm not a huge comic book or DC movie fan, but this podcast is wonderful. Dave has the most calming voice and is informative without being condescending. Fantastic job, guys.
It's beautiful.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Henry. I am shocked and embarrassed by your kind words. So I chose to read them on air, of course.
Of course. Yeah.
You know,
And
I think
you did that calmly,
by the way,
without condescension.
by the way,
And I have to assume that all of the comments were in juxtaposition to my voice and demeanor.
right. I was about to say, notice whose name she don't say, bada boy.
Yeah. And I accept that criticism. No hard feelings. No hard feelings. I love you. Thank you for the rating.
Yeah. Meanwhile, this is the nicest way anyone's ever said I put them to sleep on the podcast. Like, his voice is so calming.
I have ones that I specifically listen to go to sleep, and I mean nothing by that. It's like, oh yeah, that'd be nice to hear about that topic again.
Yeah.
I say that like I actually sleep well. Fuck that.
I know you don't.
It's a nightmare, literally.
You're like, it's the Hat Man.
Yeah. That'd be nice. At least I know that motherfucker.
It's that hag lady.
You know your dreams are bad
sit
when
on
you
my
have
chest.
to learn to lucid dream just to fight them.
Yeah. Oh, you poor bastard.
It's not a good landscape in there.
Yeah. But for real, I had no idea I had a calming voice. I thought I was loud and agitating. But if any of you would like to leave a nice review of our show, or a bad one, I guess we'll take those too. There are those who say fresh reviews on a podcast pushes it out to more people in the algorithm. I don't know to what extent, but it's nice to have a crop of new reviews so it doesn't look like the show ended in 1987.
Yeah. Also true.
But you can rate and review us on Apple or rate us on Spotify. And with that, we're going to get into the news.
If you
Officially.
could upgrade to 1991, leave us an AOL billboard review or bulletin board review. Before Black Thursday or Black Monday. I forget what they call that.
I see. I found out it's prohibitively expensive, but initially, or by initially I mean last month, I thought it would be fun to just like put like 2 episodes of a podcast on a disc and send them out to like everyone,
to space,
like through mail, like the old AOL. Like that's how AOL got big. It's just sending free copies of software out to people.
Yeah, used to physically be able to hand people time.
Yeah. Anyway, we had some sad news to start off. Paul Reubens, Pee Wee Herman, as we know, passed away. And that dude was funny.
He was.
And for those of you going, why are you talking about this on a DC podcast? Well, he played Tucker Cobblepot, Penguin's father in Batman Returns for like 2 seconds. But then he was Elijah Van Dahl.
The length of a martini, sir.
He was holding a martini at the beginning of that movie.
I think they drained it at the end of the cat scene.
They did. When he ate the cat, they drained the martini. Absolutely. But then he came back to play Penguin's father.
Back to drown the kid, and then...
Oh, yeah. Well, in Gotham, he played Penguin's father, Elijah Van Dahl.
That was a really good turn, too. Man, like, as fun as it was to see the stoic Burton-esque version of a Cobblepot family thing, there was like a much more character-driven play in Gotham that was a lot of fun, dude.
It was. And I would recommend going back and looking at the arc with Penguin.
Yeah.
Specifically.
A couple clips alone will do you good.
Yeah. Paul Reubens also played Batmite in Batman the Brave and the Bold and Lego DC Comics Batman Beleaguered. And he was the voice of Diebuck in Legends of Tomorrow. And he was the voice of the Riddler in all 3 Robot Chicken DC Comics specials.
Okay, shit. Yeah. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. That's good casting too. Well done, Robot Chicken. He would make a fine Riddler.
Yeah. Pee Wee Herman was a crazy invention that he came up with and co-wrote with Phil Hartman, who, of course, if you've listened to this show more than 3 times, you know that I'm going to bring up Phil Hartman often, lot.
And sadly.
Yes.
Yeah.
My God. It's, I was really bummed to find out he passed.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a bit of a loss there. I just saw him in roles passing here and there where he was a great character actor after all that time. After he'd made his way and, had some names he was known by and all that. But, you just see him places and he was delightful. I deeply regret Pushing Daisy's ending, and one of them is because of he was going to be the antagonist, I think, of the series.
Yeah. What's weird is, like, whenever I think of him, I don't even think of Pee Wee Herman. I think of, like, that waiter with, like, one line in Blues Brothers.
Really?
But he does it with such sass. Like, just every little movement. Like, he doesn't have much, but he's just like a snooty waiter at a French restaurant.
Yeah. But you know what? In that film, if you were paying attention to him for a minute, that's not bad. Now, granted, you're an exception because you've watched it approximately 128 times.
That's right.
So you've seen every bit of every frame after a while. And that's fine. That's fine. But it's still credit that you knew that was a thing.
Right.
I'm sure other people noticed as well.
Anyway, moving on to Blue Beetle.
Oh, is that a thing?
It is.
Yeah.
And it comes out in 3 days.
It does. Part of me is still making fun of the marketing in the DC universe right now. I know you keep telling me that they're spending more than I think they are, but damn it just doesn't feel like it.
I mean, just watching streaming, I see a ton of Blue Beetle stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
I pay too much for my streaming. None of mine has any commercials to deal with, but like I could see it. I mean, I see constant things on like Twitter feeds and stuff. So I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying that it's not hitting me. But again, same with the Flash.
Yeah, I'm
going to watch it anyway. Don't worry about me.
Actually, what's weird is I feel like they stepped it up a notch from the Flash to some degree because I've seen more Blue Beetle stuff than Flash stuff. When I go, like, I went into Target the other day And I saw a couple of Blue Beetle posters, a couple of t-shirts, and there was like, you go into the toy aisle, because I always have to go in the toy aisle. They had like all the Blue Beetle action figures. There was like a Blue Beetle statue, and there was like the bad guy, and there all these a ton of stuff. And then I like walked out of the toy aisle, and on the end of a different aisle, there was like a whole display for Blue Beetle toys. I haven't seen that in a long time.
I like it. I really do.
Yeah, like they're kind of putting some, like they had like a cardboard display.
I do like it. If that was the Target we both go to, I don't know how you found anything right now because they're in the middle of a massive remodel, but
it's gotten better.
It has. I went in a couple days ago. I could almost find a couple things.
Well, I go in there every like 3 days, so I've gotten somewhat used to it.
You got to borderline Indiana Jones yourself in and out of that store right now, but
yeah, it's kind of rough, but not as bad as it was. They told me, I asked them the other day how long the remodel was going to be going on for, and they said probably 3 months to a year.
It's a wide breadth of possibility.
I know. He was like, well, they're saying 3 months, but I think it's probably going to be, we're thinking it's probably going to be closer to 6 or 7 months, maybe a year. And I was like, oh my God.
Dear God.
Because it's like all the Targets in our area are doing this.
I haven't been to the others. I've just seen that one. It's a lot. I actually, to be fair to this company that I owe nothing to, I like the parts that they're redesigning as I see the finished product, but dear God.
Yeah, me too.
It has been a journey.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that YouTube review aside, I'm sorry. What else we got going on?
So, yeah. Angel Soto, the director of Blue Beetle, said he was talking about his influence of David Cronenberg, the guy that did The Fly and Videodrome and A History of Violence. He says, how do we do David Cronenberg for kids? He said, I wanted the energy to be fun, but also tell the story about the movies that made me love movies. And, yeah, I mean, if you see, like, Cronenberg is, of course, known for, like, body horror shit.
Yeah,
but when you see those advertisements, which I guess you're not seeing the advertisements, but the advertisements that I'm seeing is, like, the scarab embedded into Jaime's back. And I'm thinking, oh, God. I get it. I get the Cronenberg.
Yeah, but that just feels like a bad stabbing scene. Cronenberg is supposed to be, what hell hath we met here kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, well,
he did say for kids.
Oh, yeah, okay. We'll just stab him a little bit.
Now, when asked if James Gunn and Safran, got their hands into the cookie jar, Soto says, no, I think we were smart right off the bat into making this a standalone. Of course, conversations happen because of the way cultures are shifting in terms of superhero. Everybody needs to belong to a clique. And although that is a promise that can happen, we wanted to give this first movie a proper introduction to just Jaime Reyes, right? And his family. That's why the movie, we take our time introducing you to every family member and their dynamics so that you can fall in love with them. And that once the scarab attaches to him, all hell breaks loose. So by doing so, we're able to create a fresh take on the origin story where the family is involved when the family or family member has a heroic arc and are active participants in the formation of Jaime Reyes as Blue Beetle.
I can dig it. I mean,
yeah.
I've seen enough of the clips. I'm looking forward to Abuela fucking some people up with a giant machine gun.
Yep, and he was talking about Gunn and Safran choosing to include Jaime Reyes in the franchise, the DCU franchise, because it can be placed anywhere on the timeline. He says, I think that's the beauty of it. I think it's pretty vague. We know Batman exists. We know Flash exists. We know Superman exists, but we don't say how, where, or what. I think it opens up the doors to any interpretation or any direction James Gunn wants to go, and because it is setting Jaime up, what happens now moving forward is game. I think that's why they decided Jaime can be the first superhero of the new DCU because he is his own hero.
It can work. I mean,
Yeah, good.
structurally, almost anything can work after some parts of what happened in The Flash. Like, there's a groundwork you could use to say, well, this is this now, and I don't know. I'll leave it that short for anyone who just hasn't watched it yet. But dear God, it's on digital. Take care of that.
Mm-hmm. It is.
That being said, it's not like Beetle's just some character that is always there. I mean, same time, we see him regularly in Brave and the Bold. Hell, he was the first episode. The cohort, the first episode of Brave and the Bold with Batman.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of the things I like about it is there's so much character potential there.
Yeah. He has some pretty cool stuff in Young Justice as well.
Oh, absolutely. And, well, that being said, the reach, like the actual potential of that character as far as the multiverse goes. You know, when they did that huge multiverse map for DC a few years ago where it's a giant circle with all the colors, and it's real fun to look at. Like, there's a whole fucking thing for the bleed.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's a lot going on there. And it would be nice if it stood on its own 2 feet, just enough, at least, to make sure that it's included.
Mm-hmm.
But man, I mean, it's up to us, just as people who might even care. You got to show up or it's not going to matter.
Yep. And according to the tracking numbers, it's expected to do 30 million over the weekend. It would be about half of the opening weekend of The Flash.
Yeah. I think it was 55. I think that was Indiana Jones. One of those two.
But Deadline is saying that word of mouth on Blue Beetle is already at surprising levels, suggesting 30 million total could balloon much higher. According to Deadline, Beetle is polling incredibly well with Hispanic and Latino audiences and data points toward a bigger opening than both Alita Battle Angel and Meg 2 The Trench. So, and you look, I'm seeing a lot of really positive reviews for Blue Beetle. I feel like The Flash had a lot of positive reviews too, so I'm not getting my hopes up.
I'm dubious about that part, yeah.
My biggest doob, as far as being dubious, is that every person I've seen giving a positive review for Blue Beetle has said, George Lopez is amazing. And I'm like, oh, God.
I think I said last time, though, I have so many neutral feelings about this man. Like, if he kills it, that's great. I'll be on board. If he doesn't, I'll be like, okay, I'll continue to not care about George Lopez. I don't think I'm going to latch on either way. I admit, though, if he kills it, I might be slightly more interested in the future. But just not a dude I've followed enough to really have any investment.
Yeah, I get that.
But he made me laugh in the interview. Like I said last time we talked about him, so
yeah.
Maybe they had a good on-set dynamic. He'll be even funnier.
Yeah, maybe. James Gunn confirms Creature Commandos will be 7 episodes.
Cool.
He said that on Threads, by the way.
Fair enough.
Just letting y'all know. He seems a lot more responsive on Threads. And I don't blame him, because Twitter is just full of vitriol right now. Like, it is just...
It's been weird.
Oh, boy.
It's been weird. I've been looking around myself as far as, where might be another place to be.
Yeah.
Just going to put it out there for anyone listening. I'm open to suggestions there.
I would suggest Threads. I think you have to have an Instagram account to do it, maybe, but you don't have to put anything on your Instagram account.
I actually did that. I'm on there. I haven't done a thing with it since I actually opened the account. I forgot.
Yeah, that happens.
I forgot for like 2 weeks.
Yep. David Harbour has been talking about playing Frankenstein. He says, I didn't know what it was when it was sent to me. I met with James, and he sort of laid out a lot of stuff. It's really exciting. He considers it some of the best stuff he's ever written. It's hilarious, and the character is great. I think it's been announced that it's Frankenstein, and it's a very...
Frankenstein.
It's a very colorful, terrific character. So yeah, we've started to shoot stuff. I'm not one to really break, but during this, it is wildly funny stuff. So yeah, we're shooting. It's hilarious, and I can't wait for people to see it. By the way, Gunn did say that Creature Commandos, the show, is wrapped. And it's interesting that Harbour here says we're shooting stuff. I mean, I'm sure this was like at least a month ago before the strike. So, because they can't really talk about it during the strike. But,
Yeah.
I wonder if he shot something in live action as Frankenstein for Legacy or something, or Waller.
Yeah, the shooting stuff is different. He might just mean like recording.
Yeah.
That could just be a vocal thing. But I wouldn't mind seeing him in that real version. But again, it's Harbour. He's been around as a real version of things.
Mm-hmm.
Hard to say.
All right. Before we go to break, I'm going to talk about Superman Legacy. All we have is a Trunks update. Over on Threads, Get Snart said, I know you said you're considering designs without Trunks, but I think you'll find pretty quickly that Trunks works best. And James Gunn responded, as we've done hundreds of designs, it is most definitely not that simple.
I agree. I feel like
It's
we
not.
could do a whole, like, at least 30, 60-second segment every week about the Battle of the Trunks.
I don't care.
Well, that's my point, is we could probably do that because people have so many feelings about it.
Yeah.
And then you could have a fashion designer who actually knows what the fuck they're talking about doing 30, 60 minutes a week on the same topic regarding Superman specifically.
Mm-hmm.
And it would be a whole contingent of people who probably were deeply following that and had real invested emotional and intellectual issues there. And that's all good. But for us, man, I do not care. If they're there, I'll watch them. If they're not, I'll watch.
Yep. Like,
I have a preference.
I am an artist. I've done graphic design. I have an idea of what I would do, and it's not Trunks, and it's not Trunks.
Thongs. I'm sure you're thinking thong.
Oh, definitely. Yeah,
Easily
it's
the
like
best option.
Yeah, it's like that swimsuit special they did of X-Men in the 90s. Exactly what
100.
Psylocke was wearing.
100.
Yeah. No, I just like a color break. That's all it is. Like, the Trunks provide a color break. I don't need them to be Trunks.
I don't necessarily need him to be anything. I just need him to be less of a thing we worry about.
Yeah.
I get it. Everybody has like things that aesthetically are just, they piss you the fuck off. I get it. And for me, visually, I don't care. And I'm not demeaning the people who do, because like if you go to audio,
I am.
And music.
I'm demeaning the people
I know,
who do a little bit.
I get it. But that's like more your area. So like if you go to like musical things, I'm going to get more elitist and
Right.
kind of bullshittery than I should be anyway. So like, yeah, like it's a thing. It's a fully aesthetic thing for me. I don't completely understand the vitriol for it either way, or the hype for it.
My thing is like, look,
I do kind of like it when they don't look like he's worn them for 3 days. Because sometimes it looks like the little bit of the trunk at the bottom. Because like, you know the difference between like women's, like, all right, so like that style of panties, I forget what they're called, where there's like a little bit of leg, like like a 3/4 inch of leg, versus like boxer briefs that are, like 4 inches down the leg or something.
Yeah.
Sometimes he gets designed where it looks more like the women's version, and like, dear God, I don't care about that part.
You mean like the old Golden Age stuff where it just looks like he's wearing shorts?
Yeah,
It
like
looks like he's wearing
shorts that
swim
were
trunks?
just like deeply
Yeah.
cut off, but it looks
Yeah.
like they've been worn for days, and they probably need to get into a dryer to shrink them back up so they fit better.
Yeah. No, I mean, there is something I really like about that, though. Just because it looks old. Like, I like the old Darwin Cook stuff, from New Frontier, where it just like, where I like seeing like Superman's shirt tucked in and like the wrinkles coming out of his belt.
No, I get that. Like, to some extent, I do love the idea that he has like some homemade costume that, like, that's the most mortal part of him is his fucking pleats folds. Like, great. I don't know, man. There are several character designs, and one version can definitely be like, oh, this is homemade, and there's a reason it has flaws. And the other version is more like, oh, it's Kryptonian, has no flaws, and that's the reason that it's so impervious to battles. And like anywhere in between that, you're gonna make some choices.
Yeah.
And I don't really care. Just make it part of your story.
Yeah. And you know what? For me, like I was saying, like I am an artist, and I don't care about this as much as some of you people. Mm-hmm. This is a ridiculous thing to get hung up on.
I've seen you drawn both ways on a whim. because who
I
cares?
have. Yeah. All right. We're going to go to break. When we come back, we're going to talk about all this Wonder Woman 3 kerfuffle, and we're going to talk about our new giveaway. So if you want to know about our giveaway, because look, our Flash giveaway, it was gangbusters, dude. Like, we were turning people away. Like, I had to say I'm sorry to so many people, and I felt so bad about it.
They go.
So we're doing a new giveaway. It's not for the Flash, but find out what it is after this. All right, we are back, and we have a new giveaway, as I was saying. The animated film, Justice League War World. It's coming out soon. We have several codes here. And you know what? I'm not even going to ask you to do anything. Just send us an email. dconscreen@gmail.com.
I thought you were talking about me. Dear God, I was not prepared to do anything.
No, I'm not going to ask you to do anything.
Yeah.
So,
For a second. My heart jumped. I was startled.
Yeah, and I understand. We got Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, and other members of the Justice League are swept away to War World and must unite to form an unbeatable resistance and lead an entire planet to freedom. Own Justice League War World on 4K, Ultra HD, and digital now. And you just got to get to us in time. Mm-hmm. But we're talking about Darren Criss, Jensen Ackles, Troy Baker, John DiMaggio. How are you going to say no to Bender? Also, by the way, this is a follow-up to Legion of Superheroes and Justice Society World War II, and is the 10th installment in DC's Tomorrowverse. So yeah, man, that's what's happening. DConscreen@gmail.com to get your Movies Anywhere digital code. Whew. Wonder Woman 3, a lot of bullshit happening here. So, comicbook.com's Chris Killian was talking to Gal Gadot about a month ago, before the strike, of course. Mm-hmm. And Gadot said, as she understands it, she will be developing Wonder Woman 3 together with Gunn and Safran. She says, I love portraying Wonder Woman. It is so close to and dear to my heart. From what I heard from James and from Peter is that we're going to develop a Wonder Woman 3 together. August 10th, Gadot was talking to, it was released that Gadot was talking to Flaunt Magazine. And, of course, this was also done before the strike. Mm-hmm. She says, I was invited to a meeting with James Gunn and Peter Safran, and what they told me, and I'm quoting, you're in the best hands. We're going to develop Wonder Woman 3 with you. We love you as Wonder Woman, and you've got nothing to worry about, so time will tell, she says. August 10th, Variety says sources with knowledge of the situation tell Variety that is not the case. According to the sources, a third Wonder Woman film is not in development at DC Studios, nor do Gunn and Safran have plans at this time for any Wonder Woman project in the new DC universe other than their previously announced Paradise Lost prequel series for Max. Sources add to Variety that nothing was ever promised to Gadot regarding Wonder Woman 3, nor was there any definitive discussion of Gadot's Wonder Woman continuing with the new DC universe. Gunn and Safran gave a presentation at the start of the year unveiling the first titles in their new DC universe, including Superman Legacy, and they continue to be laser focused on these new films. So, I haven't seen, I've seen people saying that Gunn snuffed out that rumor. I have not seen that personally. And if someone's got a link to it, please tell me. Send me a link to it, because I haven't seen Gunn actually say, we're not developing Wonder Woman 3. I mean, they can't talk about it right now. If Variety went to Warner Brothers and says, hey, is Wonder Woman 3 in development, and all they have been doing is talking to Gadot about it, they can't do that now, not since the strike. So, I don't
know. I wonder how that... I don't think there's a difference. Mm-mm. I doubt there's a difference, actually, between talking about a possible project or talking about something that's definitely in development versus something that you're hyping because it's already done. I mean, God, I know those are different things as far as stages and qualifications and contracts, but that the Wonder Woman thing is going to be hard to sort out in general. I feel like we're just going to have to wait on that to know any actual thing. Like it's nice to even hear that they're talking, but past that, I don't know what to do with it. Not really.
Yeah, it sounds like they're like, no promises, but we want to do this with you, and also we just don't have time to mess with this right now. That's what it sounds like.
A little bit. What if I phrased it as like, you're our first choice right now. We want to work with you, but we don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
And God, I feel like that's bad phrasing because everyone in the fuck James Gunn category is like, he didn't even know he's fucking going. That's not what I mean. They have to get some ratings, reviews, numbers, for God's sake, from the previous universe to see what might be able to be transferred to the new one.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's how the real world works. I'm sorry.
It's a business. I say this every week. Every week that we do this show, I feel like I'm saying it's a business.
Yeah, there's some of that.
Speaking of which, David Ayer has been continually posting pictures from his Suicide Squad cut, which, look, I want to see it. I want to see the Ayer cut. I do. Someone asked if there was any truth to the recent claims that Gunn would release the Ayer cut before the DC Universe's big screen reboot in 2025, and Ayer responded, "Silly rumor, not true."
Yeah.
I could have told you that. I don't know shit. I don't know anybody. I could have told you that. Common sense, y'all.
Yeah.
So, Inverse was talking to Harley Quinn, the animated series, supervising producer Cecilia Aronovich Hamilton and co-star Ian Hamilton hinted that Harley Quinn has yet to be greenlit for a 5th season. They said, "Well, we don't really know at this point. Nothing has been communicated directly to us. As far as we know, Gunn likes the show. You know, he was in it. So we assume he's a fan of the show. We don't know exactly where we're going to go from here. We hope that season 4 is successful and the fans really like it and James Gunn likes it and we can continue exploring this universe. But this is all we know so far. We hope there's a season 5 where we can take them to new places and they can explore new areas in their relationship. This season really does a lot to flesh out the entire universe. By the end of the season, you won't know where they're going to go just because we fleshed out the Harley Quinn specific DC universe so much over the course of this season. You really could go anywhere." And I haven't gotten to watch any Harley Quinn season 4 yet. I know there's a few episodes out, and I just haven't had a chance to sit down and dig into it, honestly.
I think I'm 3 in, and I don't remember if the 4th is out right now.
Okay.
But, yeah, it has been predictably delightful.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I mean, that's kind of the thing that's nice about this is like, even Gunn being in it, that's cool. That's fun. But if they just took the show in a whole fucking different direction and it does have enough play to it, is what I'm saying. They could be real flexible, get out of Gotham for God's sake if they wanted to. Mm-hmm. And there's still enough there with the characters they've built over time that, yeah, it would just be neat that Gunn was there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he didn't have to be around. You know, certain characters can come and go. They have, frankly.
Sure.
There's nothing tying the show down. There's a lot of play built into that. And it's still so much fucking fun, dude.
It is. You know, my wife and I have been off and on rewatching Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman. And when we talk about, like, you know, we're going to eat something, you want to throw on something? Well, we've got Dr. Quinn, or, well, Dr. Quinn, really.
Which doctor?
Which Dr. Quinn do you want?
Yeah.
But yeah, we haven't actually made it to watching any Harley Quinn this season, which is a bummer.
Granted, if you're squeamish about your food, certain scenes in Harley Quinn wouldn't fit that.
Oh, yeah.
I know you're not, but
I feel like my wife and I have been a little all over the place with what we're watching now. Like, because we were watching some Dr. Quinn when there was a bit of a break, and then like Big Brother and Challenge started coming out, and then we watched the first episode of Smartless on the Road with Jason Bateman and Will Arnett and Sean Hayes.
Mm-hmm.
The first episode of that was delightful. It's actually made me go back and start listening to their podcast. But yeah, we've been all over the place a little bit. We just started killing it. That show with Craig Robinson. I don't like it very much. But yeah. Anyway, Bat Wheels, dude. I don't know how they're doing this. I don't know if they're using archive audio, but Adam West is going to be on Bat Wheels.
God, that has to be archive audio. That has to be.
I mean, you can make AI audio too.
You can, but I feel like that's either going to be jumping the gun right now.
Maybe.
Or no, I guess I just feel like that's what that's going to be. Jumping the gun as far as like a issue that's really deeply in the headlines and not the best idea.
No.
That being said, there's definitely enough out of him to do like a deep fake with his voice.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't know how exactly they're going to pull it off. I'm assuming it's going to be archive audio, but he will be playing. If you've seen Bat Wheels or if you are familiar with it, they're anthropomorphized bat vehicles.
They are, but I've seen enough of the show that there are just straight up human versions of it around.
Yeah. So Adam West
it's
is
unclear to me what the mythology is about when they're not like transferring, just when the Bat Wheels are taking over. It's very unclear to me. I've seen like 1.5 episodes with my daughter, and I don't think it was completely defined yet.
Gotcha. So yeah, West is going to be the 1966 Batmobile. I saw a still. It actually looked pretty delightful. I do love the 66 Batmobile.
It will say chum at some point. I'll bet
maybe
a pound of flesh almost on that one.
Yeah. So new episodes of Bat Wheels come back Monday, September 11th at 7:45 a.m. on Cartoon Network's Cartoonito block. And West's episode to the Batmobile will be Friday, September 15th. So there's that. That's weird.
That's an odd one, but I'm down for it.
There's a new Teen Titans Go special coming to Cartoon Network. It says the Teen Titans are going to Hollywood again in a whole new special celebrating 100 years of Warner Brothers. It was announced Monday that Teen Titans Go Season 8 continues with the Warner Brothers 100th Anniversary Special, premiering Saturday, September 23rd at 9:30 a.m. on Cartoon Network. Yeah. It says, the Teen Titans, Robin, Starfire, Raven, Beast Boy, and Cyborg visit the famed Warner Brothers studio lot for an adventure with exciting surprise guests. I'm not exactly sure what that is.
I'm not
for being honest, I don't really know what that is.
Either. It's in the Teen Titans universe, and yeah, I don't have the context for that.
Which is perfect for that show. I don't think there is context. They just do shit.
That's well put. They just do shit.
Yeah.
I know a couple of the movies because my daughter watched them.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I laugh. I watched the Snyder episode.
I don't think I saw that either.
Oh, that was good. That was good. They want to become epic, so they go to Zack Snyder, and Zack Snyder did the voice of Zack Snyder, and they did this big it was basically like the Teen Titans in Justice League fashion. They look like animated versions of a Snyderverse movie fighting Darkseid.
It's beautiful. I knew it existed, but I have not seen that one.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
I've mostly seen them team up with DC superhero girls. DC superhero girls.
The thing I think of most with Teen Titans Go is their trophy room. Because in the background, there's an urn that says Robin 2, and propped up against the urn is a crowbar on the shelf.
Yeah.
It's just so dark.
The inside jokes were not lost on these people. I get that. I appreciate that.
Yeah. MVD Visual is releasing the remastered Swamp Thing as a 4K Ultra HD Collector's Edition on August 8th. Marking the first time Wes Craven's cult classic Swamp Thing is available in 4K. The first pressings feature a limited edition slipcover, with each set packaged with a collectible 4K laser vision mini poster of the cover art. The 2-disc set includes a 16-bit scan of the original camera negative, restoring both the US theatrical PG cut and the unrated international version in 4K, and a new HD restoration of both versions, presented in the original 1:851 aspect ratio on Blu-ray. And you can get those on Amazon. The pre-orders are available on Amazon right now.
I'm curious.
I mean, it's Wes Craven.
It is.
Yeah. Got to talk about this a little bit.
I'll put it this way. I've never seen a frame of that. If you want to watch it and do something with it with me, I'm into it.
Okay. I saw it long time ago when I was a little kid. And I still need to go back and watch it.
Looks like it was 1982, so
couldn't
have watched it when it came out.
Yeah, I couldn't have. I was but a sperm swimming in a ball sack, probably.
You weren't even that.
Maybe not.
I was merely an accident waiting to happen.
Yeah, I think possibly I was... My dad's kind of repressed. So I may have been like a really old-ass sperm.
Oh,
that was
I see. Yeah.
You know, kind of soured, which would explain a lot of things.
Yeah. Just over-incubated.
Yeah.
Overripe.
I was pickled before I ever got out of the gate.
I am certain, at the very least, that I was a spur-of-the-moment decision.
You were a freshen.
Yeah. I was I don't know what just happened, and let's not talk about it, I feel like.
Let's not talk about it. It's repression in a different way.
Like, we grew up in a deeply religious part of the world, man.
Oh, I know.
Deeply fundamentalist, even. So, yeah, this is part of our history.
Mm-hmm. Got to talk about this. J. Oliva.
Well, hello again.
J. Oliva.
What now? Sometimes it's great. Sometimes I don't know what the fuck to do with it. What's
look,
happening?
He was talking about more what could have been stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And he was talking about Ben Affleck's Batman movie.
Right.
And he was also talking about Justice League stuff, Flashpoint stuff. He said Rick Famuyiwa's movie was going to be a series of films just like Aquaman. I think all of those films, they were planning to be trilogies. He's talking about The Flash right now. He revealed to Inverse that Snyder's plans for the universe was Rick's movie was laying the groundwork for Zoom as the big bad of the universe. It was Professor Zoom pulling the strings because he had come from the future to basically fuck with Barry. In the Flash movies, Zoom would be the villain in the background, but also in the ancillary other films, you would see some of the influences of Zoom on the rest of the Justice League. At the ending of Zack's Darkseid quadrilogy, we would end up with a Justice League Unlimited version of the Snyderverse, and then you flip it. You do Flashpoint Paradox. Everybody whose friends are now enemies, and it's a world that you don't want to live in. You can reboot the universe and introduce a new cast that way, because after 10 years, the actors needed to go on to something else.
I mean, that's fair.
I didn't know. I don't think we've known about Zoom being the big bad, pulling the strings throughout the entirety of it, but Flashpoint coming after the Zack's Justice League movies, they've talked about that before.
Yeah, that's been in the mix since like the beginning of Slate. That's
why he cast who he did as Thomas and Martha Wayne.
Yeah,
but it's. I'll go on to what he said about the Batman solo film.
No, I mean the potential there on the outset.
Mm-hmm.
Chef's kiss. Absolute chef's kiss.
He says, as for the Batman movie, the Batfleck solo, he says, I can't really say too much other than it was fucking awesome. It was the best. It was amazing. From my understanding, there were a couple of drafts of it. When I was brought on, I don't know whether it was the second draft or something, but it was what Jeff Johns and Ben had shown me. I've worked on a lot of Batman things, and what was really cool about it was tying together a lot of really cool Batman storylines that had never been really explored. Ben's story was going to cover something that had never really been covered in comics, but was building off of storylines in the Batman mythos over the last 80 years, and approaching it from a new kind of perspective. It was very clever. And there were a lot of things about it that I really loved that I wish that had come to fruition. It was a really great project in the beginning. Ben had to step away for personal reasons, and I totally understood, but the time that I spent with Ben working on the project was fantastic. Maybe someday I can spill the beans, but I still can't talk about it.
Okay, and yes, and that sounds fantastic. And I hope I get the tea, so to speak, here.
Yeah, I would like the tea, but
what's your butt?
My butt is, he's talking about, and look, all these Snyder fans online are like, oh, what we could have had it all. You don't want it because it was Jeff Johns.
I mean, maybe, but also my butt is him saying like, oh, it's a thing that's never been explored in 80 years. Like, oh my God, everyone who's ever written something at this point in the last 5 or 6 years wants to find something that no one's touched in 80 years.
Yeah.
Great. Hope you do. Even get even get close to it. And I'm going to be very excited about it. A tweak on a thing that we haven't seen in 80 years. As though I have seen every goddamn thing in 80 years. But, like, all of that sounds fantastic. But also, some receipts. Some receipts required. Just a little bit here. Some receipts required. I mean, yeah, if you're talking about like, oh, we haven't talked about this in 80 years. Cool. What is it? Like the Batman? Oh, and I know. The rebuttal of Batman.
Harriet.
Well, I can't tell you because.
Right. Yeah. It's like Aunt Harriet, nymphomaniac. That's what we're doing. Like Aunt Harriet's back. And she's going to put a bat dildo in her ass. You know, like, I don't know what we're talking about. Everything's been done.
Tied Alfred's lips together because he's been quiet for too long.
But also, like, I just feel like, this is a thing that Jeff Johns wrote with Ben. It was already a thing. To me, that's already a thing that, like, the Snyder fans have already gotten mad about, is Jeff Johns coming in to do anything.
Yeah.
If Ben Affleck did the movie with Jeff Johns, he's a snake. If, it's like they forget all the shit they said in the last few years, and now they're just like, well, we could have had. Like, you don't want it. You don't want it. And that's part of, like, what my issue is. Like, I like Jay Oliva, but I kind of hate when he comes out with stuff like this because it just, like, reignites a lot of anger in the fandom and makes people feel like they were, robbed of something. And look, for, yes.
I've been the most guilty person of, like, calling him out on this. Like, he's had receipts many times. Mm-hmm. My problem for a long time has been like, dude, you just keep saying stuff that feels like trolling.
Yeah.
And I don't have a good barometer for where I'm wrong here on that one. Like, yeah, it's trolling, but then he comes back and, he's got the information.
Mm-hmm. And you look, man, the thing about this Batman movie is, like, yes, the official story is that Ben Affleck was drowning in his own alcoholism.
Yeah.
And it's probably something of all of it. Like, some people are like, it's Jennifer Garner made him drink. Yeah, but at the same time, he was dealing with Joss Whedon and Jeff Johns on Justice League, and he was writing this freaking movie with Jeff Johns, the Batman movie. And some people say, yeah, he stepped away because of Jeff Johns. I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt if it was all of the above. Just like Zack Snyder stepped away from Justice League because his daughter committed suicide.
Yeah.
But his original plan, as he has said, was to work through the grief. But because of all the stuff with Jeff Johns and the studio, it became too much for him and he stepped away from Justice League. So forgive me, Jay Oliva, when you say, oh man, what we could have had with the Batman, it was Jeff Johns. It sounds like Jeff Johns very much made that
untenable.
Untenable, yeah. Like, because originally I thought Chris Terrio was supposed to be working on the Batman with Ben Affleck, and then suddenly it was Jeff Johns and Ben Affleck, and I don't know, man.
Yeah, that went to production too many times for it to survive.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, let me know if you think I got any of that wrong. And if you have receipts, I will consider my wrongness. And if you don't, kiss my ass. On to the last couple of things.
I think you got it on this one. And shit, there's more I could add as far as speculation, but
Sure.
dear God, we've probably covered it somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Also, it's speculation. God knows.
It is.
God knows we could be wrong. But
Well, you know what's not speculation? The Arkham trilogy is coming to Nintendo Switch October 13th. So you could buy those games all over again, Jason.
it changes my life exactly none.
You don't want your daughter to play the Arkham games.
I found that she did not give a fuck about the Switch. We sold it.
Ooh. Wow. Fair enough.
It was not worth the thing.
Fair enough. And DC Universe Online, massive MMO that's been going
actually,
since
that's a good point.
2011.
Hold on. Sorry.
What's the good point? What's the good point?
Let's go back. Rewind. Great sound effect. Good job, man.
Thanks.
When you say Arkham games, do you mean Arkham Origins and Arkham City?
No, I said Arkham Trilogy, which means Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, and Arkham Knight.
All right, Knight. Okay. Is Knight supposed to work correctly for fuck's sake? Because that was the biggest problem.
Did Arkham Knight not work correctly on Xbox?
It's PC.
Oh yeah, the PC one didn't work.
Like, it's one of the first times I in my memory I've ever seen like a whole ass company just abandon it and say, "Well, we're just going to refund everything. We can't make this happen." And Arkham Origin had so many flaws that it worked so many ways on so many different platforms, except when it didn't. And in theory, somewhere, I still have a USB drive that has Batman falling through the infinity of time.
Mm-hmm.
Just in some weird goddamn Norse hell landscape that even Neil Gaiman couldn't describe as far as the depravity of the moment.
Well, you painted quite the picture. So DC Universe Online.
There are flaws, Dave. There are flaws.
I understand. DC Universe Online is an MMO. It came out in 2011. It's still going. And it is now coming to PS5 and the Xbox Series X this holiday season with a variety of upgrades thanks to the improved power that both consoles offer. So that is kind of neat. I didn't realize DC Universe Online was still around.
I didn't either.
Shit. I had no idea, but apparently it's expanding.
Yeah, good to know.
Yeah. That's it, man. That's all we got. Why do I always have such a hard time closing the show out?
I don't know. I suppose I would just say go for it.
Yeah. It's sort of like when we're hanging out and we can't leave each other. It's like,
yeah. No, you
it
say
feels
bye
weird.
like
It feels
15
weird.
times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You do too. Like it was just, yeah. So if you want to hear this show with no ads, patreon.com/DC on screen, $5 a month gets you that plus whatever the hell else we think of coming out with. And, but $1 a month gets you just the normal show ad free. And that's pretty cool too.
Of course.
And it's the best way to support the show. All that shit. We're going to be back in a few days with our Blue Beetle review. We're probably going to, I won't be able to see it until Sunday. I think you said something like Saturday or Sunday for you as well.
Yeah, it'll be over the weekend.
Yeah, man. Looking forward to that. Everybody, let us know your thoughts about whatever the hell we talked about this episode. And let us know what your thoughts are on Blue Beetle. We'll include them in the show. Until next time.
Hold on. I'll add something extra.
See, this is why I have trouble ending the show. I always get to keep some DC on your screen, and you've got something else.
That's
all
fine.
of a sudden.
I'm going to take care of both of them for you.
You son of a bitch.
Guys, everyone, go watch this fucking movie. Go watch Blue Beetle. Go do it, man. Just go do it. Worst case scenario, it's okay. You don't like it? It's fine. Go watch the movie. Don't judge it. And then come back to us. After that, you'll have kept some DC on your screen. We'll talk about it.
Uh-huh. You know what I'm going to say?
What?
Vote with your dollar.
There you go.
If you want to see more of Blue Beetle, go pay. Go pay to see it. If you don't, do what you're doing. Don't go. I'm staying on the fence on this one. I just don't care anymore.
I don't either. But you can't. You got to go vote with the dollar, like I said.
Yeah, that's what you got to do.
We'll see you on the other side. Until then, keep some DC on your screen.
Bye.
Bye.
No, I get bye this time.
Bye.
Bye. Hey, thanks for listening to DC On Screen. Our theme song is by Jason Goss and Michael Shackelford of Galactic Engineers. The incidental music is by Michael Shackelford and Kevin MacLeod. You can rate the show on Spotify or rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. Doing that really helps push our show to new listeners, so your help would be much appreciated. You can also contact the show at DC On Screen on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, or email us at dconscreen@gmail.com. To become a patron and get ad-free episodes and exclusive content, go to patreon.com/DCOnScreen. Your reviews and feedback may end up on a future episode of DC On Screen. DC On Screen is a production of Maladjusted.tv in association with Stranded Panda. If you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or whatever damn platform you use.